Hey everybody, it's Tafony once again. Hope you're doing well. Today, it's not an episode about a specific piece of gear. It's a random thoughts, random ramblings on YouTube Music, my experience with it, and specifically comparing it for Spotify. So I'll start this off with a couple of caveats. I feel the need to mention I'm in the YouTube Partner Program. I don't feel this gives me any positive bias towards YouTube or Google as a brand, I guess. If anything, it's kind of the opposite, but I do want to be fully transparent. And same goes for DistroKid. They get mentioned later in this video as well. I'm a customer of theirs. I leave my affiliate link in the description of all the videos, but this is the same referral program all customers are under. It's not like a special deal I have with them or anything like that. And I think I only mention them when I'm groaning about having to pay to be on those platforms anyway. And as well, while I did try to weasel my way out of even talking about it in this video, the elephant in the room, obviously, is why would you switch away from Spotify in the first place? And I'll point first and foremost to Jeremy, Red Means Recording, who did a great video that's way more in depth than I'm going to touch on here. But basically, Jeremy goes over the recent controversies with Spotify and talks about why he pulled his music from their platform, goes over their history, and I definitely encourage you to check that out. I'll link that below in the description. But I will throw my own 2 cents in here as well on the subject, because I don't think this video feasibly could get by dodging the question completely. Believe me, I tried. So Spotify has long been controversial because of its low payouts per play, while wealthy founder Daniel Ek was worth millions of dollars. So I defended their low payouts previously for a few reasons, mainly because Spotify never turned a profit themselves. Daniel Ek got wealthy off investors and selling the company like many of these tech millionaires do. Spotify itself lost money constantly till about 2023, 2024, when they started turning profits. I didn't see the narrative of him like getting rich off the backs of musicians as accurate. For that reason, they were paying musicians more than they took in at that time, at least in my mind. But it's also easy to say this as someone who has never attempted to do music or never did depend on music to make a living. I always had a full-time job while my stuff was on there. And I personally have never received a payout from a streaming service since my distribution is through DistroKid, who has a minimum payout policy that I've never been able to meet. And in retrospect, I think what people were really asking for Spotify to do was to change their business model to better support musicians, which, yeah, I mean, definitely would be a plus. I'm looking back at it now in the context of like the end of the iTunes era and where like music was going to go from then, and how they probably should have done more to shape how we expected to pay and consume music, I guess. So maybe, you know, they were right to ask for more value and more cost from both sides. But around that time when they were starting to turn profitable in 2024, Spotify did make changes to things to make it harder to pay smaller musicians out, changing payout rules and setting minimums to reduce how much they send to small and indie artists, which was right at the time when they were becoming profitable, honestly. Spotify says this is to reduce scams, which are kind of rampant, like purchasing plays and stuff like that on the platform, but I don't know. And it sucks, but no platform is without its evil corporate AI-loving tech bro overlords. However, when it came out that Daniel Ek was using his wealth to invest $600 million in Helsing, a company that develops defense, AI, military technology, many musicians pulled their music from the platform in protest, including myself. And I genuinely believe this push will eventually lead to Spotify severing ties with Daniel and moving on with, you know, probably not much better, but a different leader. But in the meantime, since I stopped hosting my music on there as an artist, why should I give them my business as a listener? Which today I'm going to give my firsthand experience with what I'm trying, which is YouTube Music, a somewhat bizarre, at least in terms of licensing, that I'm not really understanding how they're able to just reskin the regular YouTube library and have proprietary licensing on top of it as well. But so as always, I'm no journalist. I say that in most episodes, but as always, I'm just some guy. I'm here to share my thoughts. You might hate that. You might appreciate the honesty, warts and all, but hopefully I can just be honest in a way that does appeal to some of you and give you some insight on my thoughts on it. So first off, dollar value. So YouTube Music is included in YouTube Premium, at least in Canada. If you're like me and basically use YouTube exclusively and rarely watch television or streaming services, it's definitely a huge plus to be ad-free on the regular videos, not just on music, and, you know, essentially for the same price as what the music-only streamers are charging. Second, I had a joke for this video that I would just say YouTube Music has ex-military and then end the video. But in all seriousness, YouTube Music does have everything. I'm not sure I understand how it even works or what is and isn't allowed there from the regular YouTube library, their collection, I guess. Because there are just like all the standard videos are available on there as long as they're tagged as music versus what you select when on the DistroKid side. You can like give them licenses to be on YouTube Music. Some full albums, when they're just uploaded by regular users, they don't split it up by tracks. Others are split up by tracks. Like I'm looking at the new Pixel Grip record I've been listening to on YouTube Music a lot. I really like it, and it's all split up. Presumably the distributor did it the YouTube Music way, as opposed to some of the backlog that is not on other streaming services is on YouTube Music just as a full album, which is really interesting. But that also means if you love live music, live sets like I do, or obscure punk or records, there's lots of things that aren't on streaming services at all, or in weird distribution limbo, or that crazy mega mix that is only on YouTube, or I'm thinking just off the top of my head things like this. I don't even know the word. It's a whole bunch of letters. There's just hundreds of mixes of that nature that I really love that obviously aren't on other streaming services. Sometimes they are compiled in playlists, but you can just kind of go straight to the source with this. I'm not entirely sure how, but it is there. Hell, they even have the Negative Approach EP, which is super appreciated. So third, recommendations. I don't know if it's just because it doesn't have access to my older playlist that, I'm looking for something new, or what, or if it has access to my browsing history that it is able to spy on me in a way that maybe Spotify isn't. But I have found so far the recommendations have been a lot more interesting than what I was getting on other streaming services. Like you always get the day list or whatever on Spotify, and I never really found anything new or interesting on those things. But on YouTube Music, the autoplay, I guess, has led me to things like Lexi Cat or Fake Like That by Azulo. Definitely check out those songs. Maybe I'll even link to them just because they're super cool and I was super excited on it. But coming back to the weird licensing thing again, I was going for a walk recently and I was listening to autoplay or shuffle or whatever was happening, and a mix came on. I was like, oh, this instrumental is really cool. What are we listening to? And it was Wave Hoarder Submission for the latest patch challenge. And I got like a minute into it while I was walking and checked it out, and I was like, I don't even know if they even knew they were on YouTube Music, but I was pleasantly surprised it came up. And I love that, not just that example, but other examples like the Basic live stuff I've been listening to on music. It's really great to bring that stuff into my library, I guess. Things that back in the day I probably would have downloaded and put on my iPod. Fourth, the quirks. So there's definitely some quirks with it, for me anyway. Using Apple CarPlay especially, it isn't as good as Spotify was. Spotify had a button that you could use Siri for voice search. Like if I was driving, I can just press the voice search button, say the album, the artist, the name, and it'll play it. It was easy. YouTube Music doesn't have anything like that. Spotify as well, you could press the album or maybe even the artist name, definitely the album, and then it would get you over to them like in an easy way while you're driving. You can just hit it once, get over there, and then maybe you want to just listen to that album, you can keep going. But YouTube, basically you just get a skip button essentially, which kind of sucks. So you got to kind of set up your playlist and stuff to have them ready to grab, or else you'll be stuck kind of at the whim of the autoplay. I also have a particularly weird quirk because it has this option for switching over to the video for most songs is what I'm guessing, but certain stuff where the music video is age restricted, my playback stops entirely and it makes me click confirm. So that hasn't happened on the app yet, but if I'm using the desktop version, when I'm trying to lose to SkyToss in a different tab or I'm doing something, the playback just stops completely and it waits for me to hit confirm, which is really bizarre because I've already confirmed that I'm have majority age or whatever. I don't know if it's just a weird EU thing that they're pushing to Canada or what, but maybe it's just an oversight because of the video side. But okay, final thoughts. So yesterday I was listening to the basic Digitone live set while walking around the lake and really enjoying it. That was sort of what made me want to make this video. Finally, we were talking a little bit about it in the Discord. I just want to share my thoughts on it. Everybody's talking about getting away from Spotify, but not where to go. I think dollar for dollar, getting the catalog, getting YouTube Premium. This is what I would suggest to most people out there. And I'm curious what everyone else's thoughts are. I don't have any experience with Apple Music. Is it worth it for the same dollar for dollar price? I get this for included in Premium, so is it worth doing it? I don't know. I also do believe, at least in the Red Means recording video, Jeremy said that the payout is more competitive than something like Spotify in terms of paying out the artist. So the math's also fuzzy. I understand it's different. Ad supported versus premium, etc. But my understanding, at least from that other video, I believe they are paying out at least competitively, if not better than the other major platforms. So, all right, I'm Tafony. Thank you so much for joining me for this weird episode. What streaming service are you using? Are you not moving? Are you unwilling to move? Are your playlists unrevocable? If not, have you found a way to migrate them over? What are your thoughts on the whole situation? Hope you're doing well. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.